What's up, guys? David1, It's another Halloween deck profile. This may be the last one this year. I'm not really sure. My wrist is getting pretty bad. I got a test for it the first, so hopefully we can get this fixed because it's making it really hard to do videos. Well, I'm gonna keep chugging along anyway, burn through the wrist problems and all that kind of crap because I really want to keep getting content to you guys. So make sure you guys like my Facebook page down there, and like the videos and subscribe to them and stuff like that. Keep the spirit alive because it really kind of gives me the vigor to really get through all this. Despite all that, however, I did put in tons of work on this deck, and it really still sucks. I was gonna do my annual "they're vampires, so they suck" joke in there, and I guess I just kind of technically did. But they really suck. And as the power creep of this game keeps going and going, and maybe that's something we'll talk about in a later video, because discussion videos are much easier to edit, that unless archetypes are constantly being fed direct, good support, they will slowly but surely get worse and worse and worse. This is a shame because vampires are frankly one of the coolest spooky archetypes we got, and their mechanic is neat because it is, like, contextually very clever. What do vampires do? They suck your blood. Your blood is the life source of your entire body. It makes everything function. So when you make an archetype based around vampires that suck blood, you have one of two options. Either you do life point burn damage, like you suck life points out of them, which would be probably the most appropriate, or you make them bleed their deck, which is arguably the whole life of their side of the duel. Without a deck, they actually, like, by game mechanics, lose the duel, so like that's a thing. So it was really cool that they made a whole deck that are vampires that bleed your opponent's deck dry. Too bad it sucks. They suck. Ooh, hey. So instead I went and did this. And here is vampires. Before you guys leave a bunch of stupid comments down below, there's not that many vampires in it, Dave. Well, you know what? No, there's not. They really suck, but the ones we are running are Vampire Shadow, Vampire Ducat 2, and our Vampire Sorcerer. It's a very minimum engine, but it is in the deck. It does actually count. Sadly, the thing is, they're probably only in here to be level 5 zombies, because actually vampiring is kind of lame and slow, but yeah, they do kind of do it when they do it, especially because when you can normal summon Shadow Vampire, which gets your Duke out of the grave, you can mill a trap out of their deck or something like that, so you don't have to deal with Solemn Strike later, and you can go into your Braum, which is actually the boss monster of the deck. I'm still using it, so no boo. And he's got a really cool effect. If he's destroyed, he can keep coming back through the standby phase to be tribute fodder, but what's really cool is you can detach to summon a monster from your opponent's graveyard, which is a mechanic that really doesn't exist for a lot of things. That's something we just don't really have a ton of, and it's cool that the zombies can actually do that. But the main focus of the deck is actually Ultimaya Zulkin, which is something that my deck last year did, but this seems to do it a little more reliably because of the addition of a couple of new cards. Gofu recently just came out, a level 5 tuner that can just special summon itself as long as you don't control monsters, and it comes along with 2 tokens that you want. You can't really use them for anything except for polymerization, so it's kind of neat. And if you choose to use the tokens because you have the poly, then you can actually do it. It's a fun little combo, but really we just care that he's level 5 tuner, and he tags along with our Garbage Lord, which is another card that I added, an oldie but a goodie for 2k. You can just special summon this thing from your hand. That's it. He's not a zombie. That's kind of annoying, but we do have Zombie World in here, though that kind of does fix that. We are running at a high monster count for an Ultimaya Zulkin deck, which is kind of annoying. However, most of our monsters pitch themselves, so it's not a big deal because we're running things like Garbage Ogre and King of the Swamp, which probably should be Lunalight Black Sheep, but whatever. These things go to the grave and thin out the deck and make your allure easier to use and things like that. So you can actually use Ultimaya Zulkin and actually thin, because the only things you're going to end up drawing into are your actual spells, because everything else is out of the deck. The other new addition is your Sharanui Sage. This thing is cool because it can tribute another zombie on the field, including itself, to summon a monster from your deck that is a 0 defense zombie tuner. So that's pretty much just Unizombie. That's cool because that means we have another playset of Unizombie, and again, it helps us thin our deck. A lot of times if I draw into this and Solitaire, I'll just end up summoning this, just so I can, discard the Unizombie in my hand, so just so I can thin my deck more. It's always a good play to do, and again, it just adds some level of consistency to the deck. Poly in the deck is something new that I'm doing this year because we have Star Venom, and a lot of times this thing's actually easy to make. I mean, obviously we can't use the Gofu tokens for this thing, but you can use the Gofu tokens for this thing, the Nether Soul Dragon, and when you got your Zombie World on the field. Speaking of Zombie World, this is in the deck over your Vampire Kingdom, because despite the fact that 500 attack during the damage calculation is kind of cool, I suppose. And the fact you get to pop a card when you mill something is also kind of cool, I suppose. They're both really, really slow, and the fact that this thing just turns all your monsters and your opponent's monsters in the grave and the field into zombies means you get around stupid unizombies' dumb attack restriction if you use his effect, as well as just making your opponent have to do weird crap, because a lot of decks require their monsters to be the monsters they're supposed to be and not fucking zombies, and it really kind of screws them up. All the spellcaster decks are like, oh, come on, man, I can't do anything with any of my spells. And like, dragon decks get screwed up, and even like ABCs, they can't go into Geargant and stuff, so that's kind of a giant pain in the ass. They can't use Tsukiyomi either. So, this card's actually really not bad. This thing kind of phases itself in and out of the meta as far as a stun card, and the fact that we just main it is kind of nice because it just kind of makes the whole deck function. Turning your Crystal Wing into a zombie so it can attack the turn you have summoned it is just really nifty. Dark World Dealings is an added draw to the allure because it does let you discard a card to the graveyard, which kind of gets your Mizuki's live. It's something I was kind of testing. It works. If you wanted to throw Dark Law and a Mass Change 2 in here, then I would not be completely thinking you're crazy. And as far as that's concerned, that's pretty much the deck. Jewels of the Valiant is the only other thing you guys could consider running if you want to go more heavy on the vampires. It's cool because whenever you banish a monster from your grave, you can mill one out of your deck of a different attribute. In this case, it's probably a swap between your Vampire Sorcerer and your Mizuki. You just go back and forth, doop, 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 doop. It's a fun little combo. It's like a continuous version of your Foolish Burial, issue being it's basically begging to get hit by a Twin Twister, but it's an option if you wish to do so. Alright guys, that was the deck. It's interesting. There's some really cool fun stuff in there. I just wish it had a little bit more punch. On that note, let's see what I can do with it. This first one's against Marionette Screencasters. This is the game 2 of a little match that we played with his Gagagas versus my Vampires. It was a pretty decent game. He kind of, I think, ended up blowing me out game 1 because I totally bricked. But that Max C challenge, though, was a big pain in the butt. But I managed to get that with that Crystal Wing, which is just a really, really good card. Issue being that Max C gave him all the cards he'd need to kind of bait out my one negate that I get. It's Diffusion and Norden. He summons back the Max C just because, he had nothing better to grab, I think. Yeah, there you go. Alright, boo. So much boo. But you know what? That's what's gonna happen when your opponent's got more resources than you. And he goes into this giant thing, which is really cool, to Enter Blathanir, which is just a really, really powerful card. If your deck can make it, great. Blue Eyes can make this card because they can play Cloud Castle and get back a dead synchro summoned level 9 dragon. So that's just kind of a fun little thing. Interesting note. But I make my own Castel and swing for all the stupid, pitiful amounts of damage. Let's see what Marion can do. Woot, he totally gets the one thing he needed to actually play, which is annoying because that Dweller is gonna be a problem for zombies because they don't really get to do very much. Here's just me just kind of milling stuff in order to try to, get some stuff set up, and maybe I would defend myself. The 2K as a defense is a hard sell because pretty much you're like, oh, well, I'm going to pay 2K to hopefully not get 2400 attack or more. But he didn't even need it. He just went into Utopia the Lightning and just absolutely jammed over me. So there you go. I really should call this thing the compilation of the deck losing because I don't think I win any of these games. But they're at least games, so that's a thing. Although I think on this one, Ryan was kind of jerking around. He just ended up setting a priest with the eyes of blue instead of really going off. Although I'm not sure he could have. Maybe he could have normal something. I don't know. But I think he's kind of screwing with me, but I think he wanted to see what I could do. So, that's a thing, I suppose. Get that Bram. Get out this Morphage Goliath trying to stun him, even though Blue Eyes really doesn't need to use their extra deck because they can play just a giant bunch of beaters. Ooh, look. He didn't Regeki me. What a jerk. But hey, at least I'm doing stuff. You know what I mean? That's the real thing. I couldn't actually go into anything because of that damn Goliath was actually stunning me, but whatever. Oh no, the Dragon's Ravine. It's all over, folks. I vampired as hard as I could. But I can't deal with all of the Blue Eyes White Dragons. No! Boo! Alright, this last one's against ABCs. I mean, it's just getting from bad to worse here, people, because Now we're playing against like super meta, best deck of the format, get Shrek Dave, and boy does Ryan certainly makes a board here. You know, that's the thing. This Infinity was pretty legit. I didn't really know what I was gonna do about that, so I figured I would just kind of wall up, I guess, and just get as much as I could, see what he'd let me do. Pretty much, you know, like, oh, maybe he'll let me. Hey, he let me did it. I think he like accidentally I think he misclicked actually, if I remember correctly. But you know what? It's fine. I managed to actually do a bunch of crap that I designed the deck to do, like play Star Venom and crap. So well, that's a thing. I think I also misclicked. I think I intended to make Nether Soul with the tokens, but whatever. Oh no! Boo! Can't negate that. Kill my tokens. And he makes Butthole Buster. Yuck! This is just the best. I'm like, ooh, I can allure, and if at the worst, I get a Mizuki in the grave. That's not so bad. I go into Bram, I'm like, oh yeah, get back his Infinity. Oh my god, it's the best play of the day. Too broke, get Shrek. But really, that was about all my deck could do, and I couldn't get over Buster Dragon anyway, so yeah. But at least I lost looking good. I think that's really what it was, because sure, I can you know, top deck Regeki like the best of them, but that's not really a great out to Dragon Buster. If anything, it just kind of annoys ABC, and they get a bunch of effects anyway. So sure, they lose their board, but they draw 2 and go plus, so it's like, it's not so bad. And that was certainly a good top deck on Riot's part. Ooh, Omega and Drake and another ABC, and just wow. Much meta. Very lost. Alright guys, that was the deck and duels. Like I said, the deck's a lot of fun to play. It's a damn shame that it's not more powerful. It definitely wants to go first, and if left unchecked, can make some pretty stupid boards, so that's at least something you can have fun with. Anyway guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of all of the Halloween decks, and maybe if I was to do one more, what it would be. I'm thinking like the E-Spirits, but maybe you guys have a better idea. But anyway guys, like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, if you don't troll the meta, who will? I'll see you guys next Halloween with more stupid crap.
It's a pretty standard deck list. It's not very often where you get to see an actually good deck profile on Dave's channel.
Set navigation. Wow, strong opening play from the Dark Magician player. Oh, hot damn, I bricked.
So there's a lot of good theory behind this deck.